you've got an idea. And it's a good one, right? Maybe even a world-changing one. But let's be honest for a second. The path from a great idea to a great business is absolutely littered with amazing concepts that just fizzled out. They had all the passion in the world, but no clear map. So how do you make sure your big idea isn't one of them? And that, right there, is the billion-dollar question, isn't it? You've got the vision, you've got the drive, but are you actually measuring the right things? How can you tell the difference between making real progress and just being busy? Because that's the real problem. Passion gets you off the starting block for sure, but it's not going to carry you over the finish line by itself. If you don't have a clear system to see what's working and what isn't, that initial momentum just stalls out. Your decisions become guesses, and that fire you started with, it starts to fade. So, what's the solution? Well, this is where something called the MRZ Index comes into play. I want you to forget about vague metrics for a minute. Think of this as a super practical, structured framework. It's designed to give you a clear-eyed way to analyze where you are, build a solid plan, and actually realize your business's true potential. And at the heart of it all is this deceptively simple formula. Now, don't let the letters throw you off. Each one stands for a vital organ of your business. So let's go ahead and break down this little code for success, piece by piece. All right, the foundation of the whole index is built on what they call the 3 core pillars: analyze, strategize, and realize, A, S, and R. These 3 steps are basically the operational backbone of any successful company, taking you from that raw idea to real-world results. So let's see how this actually flows. First up, you've got A for analyze. This is the homework phase. It's the deep dive where you have to really understand your market, your competition, and crucially, your own internal capabilities. Only after you've done that can you move on to S for strategize. This is where you build the roadmap. You take all that insight you just gathered and you forge it into a concrete plan of attack. And then finally, we get to R for realize. This is where the rubber meets the road. It's all about execution, turning that strategy into tangible results. And just as important, it's about tracking what's working and having the guts to adjust what isn't. You see the path? It's from insight to a plan to action. But hey, remember that little E at the end of the formula? It's not just tacked on at the end. It's a multiplier. The creators of this index call it the X factor. And honestly, this is the thing that separates the merely good businesses from the truly great ones. So what is this E factor? Well, the source material calls it the human forces. This is all the stuff you can't really capture on a spreadsheet, It's the leadership drive. It's that relentless passion. It's the ethical backbone of the company. It's really the soul of the business, the why that powers the what. And you can really see the difference it makes right here. A low E factor? Well, that's a business just running on gut feelings and short bursts of energy. It's a recipe for inconsistency. But a high E factor? That's a whole different story. That's a company guided by real insight, a strong ethical compass, and a passion from leadership that just doesn't quit. That's how you build steady, sustainable momentum. This E is the force that multiplies all your other hard work. Okay, so that's the theory, but how does this actually work in practice? How do you get a real, tangible number that you can actually use? Let's walk through an example and run the numbers. So each of those 3 pillars, analyze, strategize, and realize, is scored out of 25. In this case, you can see this business is doing pretty well in each area. Then you've got the E factor, which is rated on a scale from 1 to 2. Here they've got a really solid 1.5, which tells us they have strong leadership and a good ethical foundation. So you just add up the scores for the 3 pillars, 22 plus 21 plus 20, and then you multiply that total by the E factor of 1.5, and that gives you a final MRZ index score of 94.5. So what does that actually mean? Well, according to this framework, any score over 90 is a big green light. It's a sign of strong business readiness. It's one simple number that tells you the whole story of your company's strategic health. So you might be wondering, who is this actually for? Is this just for some tech startup in Silicon Valley, or is it broader? The answer is, it's a really versatile tool. It's designed for pretty much anyone who needs to bring some serious clarity to their business strategy. I mean, think about it. If you're a startup, this is the perfect readiness check before you even think about asking for money. For an established small business, it's like a diagnostic tool that can pinpoint exactly where your plan is falling short. And it's not just for the founders. A consultant could use this to standardize how they evaluate clients, and investors can use it to peek behind the curtain and get a real feel for a team's strategic maturity.
And that really is the key takeaway. The MRZ Index isn't just about crunching numbers to get a score. It's about adopting a whole new mindset. It's a commitment to building your business with clarity, with discipline, but also with a real sense of purpose and conscience. It's where sharp analysis meets that critical human element.
So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. Take a good, hard look at your own business. What are you tracking? Are you just measuring the surface level stuff like revenue and clicks? Or are you measuring the deeper things, the strategic alignment, the operational discipline, and that human energy that actually creates lasting value? Are you measuring what truly matters?